The collectivist says, we'll use force. We'll use coercion. These are good, and by golly, we know they're good. We're smart. Those dumb people out there may not be so smart, and so for their own good, we have the obligation to rule.
Is this what's happening now in the EU? I don't want to digress you, but let's just parallel what's going on.
John, this is happening everywhere in the world.
All right.
This has been happening everywhere in the world for decades. Almost all of the laws that are on our books are as a result of this mentality.
Okay.
We are going to decide what is good for society or for you folks. And we're not going to give you a choice because you're too darn dumb, possibly, to know that we are right. So we're going to take your choice away from you for your own good. We'll pass a law. The individualist, on the other hand, says, well, I agree with this is a good thing to do, but I believe in freedom of choice. I want to use persuasion, the power of good example, but not coercion. A classic example, harmless example, would be seatbelts. Everybody agrees that seatbelts are a good thing. The collectivist says, yeah, they're so good, you know there are dummies out there that won't put them on. So, let's pass a law, and we're going to put those people in jail if they don't do what we think they should do for their own good, you see. The collectivist wants coercion to bring about the good things in society. The individualist says, I think seatbelts are a good idea too, but I don't believe in forcing people to wear them if they're too dumb to not wear them.
Buckle up, it's the law.
It's buckle up, it's the law. So one of the ways you can spot the collectivist mentality is that no matter what it is they're peeved about, they say there ought to be a law. That's their first instinct, is we're going to force people to do things. And the individualist, of course, believes in freedom of choice. Now we can go down the scale, but that's basically what we're talking about. We're talking about principles and not labels. We're not talking about socialism, communism, fascism, or now what is being sold to the American people as Americanism, another word. Boy, has that changed over the past 50 years or 60 years, you know. The Americanism of today is not the Americanism of our founding fathers. It's the Americanism of some of these systems we've been talking about.
Sounds like a user-friendly name. Like you can have two names for a road. We have here 441, which is also State Road 7. You can say collectivism and Americanism. It's how do you want to couch it?
Depends on which word you like. Yeah, right. So that's basically what we're talking about when we use the word collectivism. It's the mentality that government is the solution to all problems, and that government is a constructive good, and it should be used. It's almost in place of one's religion. It's the kind of thing we look to for guidance and salvation. See?
Well, we've allowed government to grow. Have we allowed it, or has it grown on itself? Has our freedom been stolen from us from behind the scenes?
Well, it's kind of a cooperative thing, I think. We've gone to government schools, have we not? Most of us, I did.
Yes.
And so we've been taught that collectivism is a good thing. Collectivism is the instrumentality that brings about big government, and it works the other way around. Big government, if it controls the educational system, can really make sure that the curricula that the students have inculcates in their minds an admiration of collectivism. And it certainly did in mine. It took quite a bit of introspection and reading and challenging for me to break out of that mold, you know, because I was taught some of the things that we were just talking about here. So, yeah, I think that the people in government, of course, want to expand their power because that's pretty heady stuff. It's a good job, you might say. Also, they are social engineers. They want to change society. That's part of the collectivist mind. They want to do all these good things for all those dummies out there. So that gives them the sort of a personal power that they like. But by the same token, the people themselves fall for the rhetoric about how good this would be for them to have seatbelt laws, for example. Isn't that good? And the folks say, yeah, we think that's good. So they go along with it, you see. So it's sort of a back and forth thing, to the point where many people today cannot imagine what life would be like having to make their own decisions on anything.
Collectivism seems to work along the premise of, well, if we have one good guy at the top running it, then everything's going to be just fine. Doesn't this fly in the face of what the founding fathers thought when they drafted the Constitution?
Absolutely. Founding fathers were very fearful of the king mentality. George Washington had really been offered the position of being a king. Even in those days, you see, most of the people in the American colonies didn't object to the monarchy. They thought a monarchy was fine. They came from Europe where the monarchy was a way of life.
Right.
What they objected to was King George.